What's up, Climate Viewers? This is Jim Lee from ClimateViewer News, ClimateViewer.com, and ClimateViewer.substack.com. Now, we've talked a whole lot about aluminum coming down in the rain, and we mostly have talked about it coming from the plane farts, because we know it comes from the plane farts, and we know how metals are filling the atmosphere. It's affecting the color of the sky. It's affecting the color of the sun. But there's been much to do lately, not talking about the aluminum and, all of the other barium, all of the chemicals that we know that are associated with jet fuel. There's a major focus right now on space junk, particularly from the people who are really, really big mad at Elon Musk. So you're going to hear a whole lot about how Elon's the problem and Starlink is the problem. Now, we could go back and forth about how Starlink is, a good thing for if you're, in North Carolina right after a hurricane and you need communications. And then we could, exhaustively get into the finer details of how Elon is linked to Starlink, Star Shield, which is Department of Defense communications. But we're going to leave all that aside, and we're just going to focus specifically on what goes up must come down, as above, so below, and what does that mean for us, the poor humans underneath? Listen to all these people argue about it. If you don't know about all my websites and you want to check them out, ClimateViewer News, ClimateViewer Maps, and WeatherModificationHistory.com, go to connect.climateviewer.com. You can find all my social medias, join my Telegram chat, and, subscribe to the things. Make sure you're subscribed over on Rumble, because you never know when this YouTube joyride could end. And without further ado, let's get into it. So I previously wrote this one up on Substack, and it was about a geoengineering early warning system, specifically with the WB57 and Project Sabre. So SABRE stands for Stratospheric Aerosol Processes, Budget and Radiative Effects. And how they were going to use this WB57 with all of these sniffing agents on them. This is, February 22nd, what they called Light Sabre in Houston. And this is Cold Sabre in Alaska. But basically, this is a high-flying plane. Can get up to like 60,000 feet, talking about 18 kilometers. And, basically sniff for the chemicals. Well, interestingly enough, this is one of the earlier articles about this. This is 2023, October. Study finds metal from space junk polluting the upper atmosphere. Scientists say metal in aerosol particles is from satellites and rocket boosters. And there you see Project Sabre right there. NOAA's Sabre mission found aerosol particles. And they go on in detail, about this. And, say more than 300,000 pieces of debris orbiting the Earth at high speeds. Just a trigger warning. If you're a flat earther, just, bear with me on this one. Because I know that you don't believe that any of this stuff is real. So you're really not going to like it when we get to the part where I'm showing, all the satellites. Because none of these satellites exist. This is a figment of our imagination. But, oh, you got to love them. Anyway, so what did they find? Examples of this are like the Russian Mir station when it was intentionally deorbited and burned up over the Pacific Ocean in 2001. International Space Station, larger than a football field, will be disposed of in the same way when it's decommissioned. They typically just let these things fall out of the sky and burn up along the way. In 2023, NOAA's SABRE mission, using specially equipped aircraft to sample the stratosphere, researchers were looking for aerosols, which are tiny particles that form chemical reactions taking place at high altitude. Let's get to some numbers. Well, I thought the numbers were right there. Must be in the next article. It is. But, well, this is a good... this is a good, like, just infographic for people trying to understand, like, what exactly we're talking about. If you're not familiar with the atmosphere, when I say mesosphere, you're probably going to be like gloss over. So I kind of want to give you an idea of what we're talking about here. And I'm going to just throw this up on the screen, full screen real quick. And you see this image right here, which pretty much gives you a good detailed, overview. We are here. You are this tiny little speck. That's a mountain. Anywhere from 12 kilometers, we're talking anywhere from like 32 to 42,000 feet. This is called the tropopause. That's where the stratosphere begins. At about 18 kilometers or 60,000 feet, it says that the NASA WB-57 research aircraft sampling between 12 to 20 kilometers. So that's its area, its ceiling, and it's literally sniffing for the particles. But this kind of shows it all. We have meteors coming in. Meteors are constantly breaking up. There's all kinds of minerals in them. But then we've got solid rocket bodies, and we have satellites which are falling out of orbit. And up here, we're talking about the ionosphere. This is the mesosphere, and this is the stratosphere. In the stratosphere is where the ozone layer is, and it's pretty interesting. Like if you really look into, it'll blow your mind. Just type this one into the next AI or search engine. How thick is the ozone layer at its thickest point? And it'll tell you millimeters. Kind of surprising. But in all honesty, there's a long column of... I digress. Anyway, post-rocket launches upper stage reentry, metal vapors and smoke particles from reentry ablation, settling, and accumulation at the poles, because... just like with geoengineering, the idea is the higher you put these chemicals up, the longer they're going to last before they finally make it to the ground, and the more likely they are to make it to the poles. So most geoengineering projections, analysis say that it would be best if they could, put, let's say 70 to 90,000 feet, closer to the top of the stratosphere as possible when they deploy chemicals, and do it at the equator. And that's because if they do it at the equator, because of the circulation, it will end up at the pole. And same with the southern, it will end up at the pole. So the same thing is true with what's going on here. Metal vapors and smoke particles, accumulate at the poles. But sulfuric acid particles containing ablated meteoric and reentry metals are sensed there. And then there's a whole bunch of concerns with mega constellations of satellites. FCC replies to complaints filed against Starlink Gen 1 and acknowledges potential effect on Earth's atmosphere from satellite launch reentry. And then they went for Gen 2, talking about putting like 40,000 satellites up there totally. Interestingly enough, I think I did an article on this quite a while back, and it may still be up here on the front page under the pollution section. Where are we? Pollution, 5G and broadband from space and airplanes. Yeah, we got MFN 5G on this MFN plane. And in it, you can see the numbers. FCC tells SpaceX it can deploy 11,943 broadband satellites. This was November 2018. And then with a total of, I think it was an absolute really ridiculous amount. But anyway, the numbers went up. Yeah, I guess that was the total. Maybe I'm blowing it out of proportion. But then they have things like airborne wireless network, where they literally have Wi-Fi from plane to plane. And there's other systems out there anyway. But, you know, I digress. That wasn't even on the menu. Getting back to the thing. So yeah, they've got a lot of satellites up there. How many satellites? There's a whole bunch of other nerdy stuff in here. This is just for me, but you know, like if you want, I'm gonna give all of these. If you guys don't know by now, I make a video and then I go and I give you all the references from the video over on Substack. Kind of running a little behind on all that. I just got the Mount Shasta hearing posted to ClimateViewer.substack. So I've got to do diamond dust geoengineering, and then this video. I think I have another one I have to do. Getting behind. One man show over here. It's tough, but if you want to support my work, please sign up as a monthly subscriber. It's all work and it's all on me. But anyway, we'll leave all that nerdiness behind and let's look at something cool or not cool. Totally your opinion. So this is SpaceX starting in August 2019. Just a couple dots. Watch how quickly this gets out of hand. Got some funky dubstep playing. It's like rocking out my eardrums, but I don't need to play that on here and get censored because you never know what's going to happen. But we're already at 2022 and it's getting crazy really quick. Is that mind blowing or what? I mean, that is absolutely insane. So from November of 2019 to present, that is the exponential growth of the Starlink Starshield network. And it's not even the only one up there. Mega constellation. We'll get into the other ones a little later in the video. But the point is that people are making a big fuss about this because hack the planet. Hack the planet. I love the movie Hackers. What a great movie. They don't make them like they used to. So over here, this is when, you know, things started to get funky. Space junk is polluting Earth's stratosphere with vaporized metal. And, you know, they're estimating that, you know, with don't fear China's falling rockets, fear the future it foretells. You know, and more about satellite mega constellations and their skyrocketing impacts. What kind of impacts? Well, let's throw some science in there. Impact of rocket launch and space debris, air pollutant emissions on stratospheric ozone and global climate. Do tell. So it's getting crazier. You know, a lot of people are jumping on this bandwagon. You're seeing more and more information about this. This is 2024. Waste of space, the junk littering the ozone. Interestingly enough, this just brought to mind New Madrid space laser junk. Let's just put that in there. Spanish absorbed laser cannons to remove debris near Earth. You can't make this up. But it was called the New Madrid ion cannon or something like that. Let's check this out. They got a little short. What do they got? Okay. Yeah. What about the laser? Monitor space. No. This is not it. So they already have an international laser range. Oh, there we go. Burn them up with the lasers. Yeah, so they actually have talked about literally trying to burn up the satellite debris in space to get rid of it before it ever makes it to the ground. But I think it's called the New Madrid ion cannon or something like that. Let me see if that is it. No. Wikipedia. No. Oh god. Let me know in the comments. You guys will. So one of you will remember the thing I'm talking about, but it was actually called the New Madrid, something laser for space debris. Is using lasers to track? No. This was for like destroying rapid response debris removal using reconfigurable. No. To debris. AI powered lasers could zap space. Now we're talking, but baby. AI powered lasers could zap space debris away from collision courses. Okay, that's still not it, but you get the picture. So there's this New Madrid ion cannon. It's out there somewhere. But anyway. So then they really start pointing the finger directly at Elon. Starlink satellites re-entering Earth's atmosphere in increasing numbers, creating artificial meteor showers. This is a rack of 60 Starlink satellites just before deployment on May 24th, 2019. This article is February 8th, 2025. So this one's hot off the presses. Only 3 days old. And in it, you can actually see a video of a re-entry of a Starlink satellite. Let's check it all out together. Ooh. Now, there's a website I'm going to show in just a moment, which will let you actually track when your local Starlink satellite will be crashing by, and you get to see some 5G from space burn up over your house, and that's a whole thing. But anyway, aluminum deposition and ozone risk depletion. A typical 250 kilogram, 550 pound satellite can produce approximately 30 kilograms or 66 pounds of aluminum oxide nanoparticles during re-entry. Quick check on that real quick. Let's go calculating. Calculadora to the rescue. So 66 pounds times 11,943 equals 788,238 pounds of aluminum oxide if every one of those satellites fell out of the space. Just throwing that out there. A 2023 study, we went over that already. That was this thing. Revealed that about 10% of stratospheric sulfuric acid particles larger than 120 nanometers in diameter contain aluminum and other metals originating from the burnup of satellite and rocket stages during re-entry. Aluminum oxides can catalyze chlorine activation, which contributes to the breakdown of ozone molecules. I'm going to leave it as simple as that. I don't want to get too deeper into it. For those that are more interested in it, I will, this will be up on Substack. You can read all the links. The latest the latest threat to the ozone layer, Elon's Starlink satellite mega constellation. June 27, 2024. So this has been an ongoing thing. Let's focus on, the Elon problem. throwing around the same numbers, 66 pounds, 30 kilograms of aluminum oxide nanoparticles. So the next time you're thinking about your rainfall samples and how much of that is coming from the chemtrails, consider for a moment all of the space junk. It's starting to look like the film Wall-E. Anybody ever watch that? I know I did because I have children, and even if I didn't, I enjoyed it. But regardless, like right at the beginning of the film, Wall-E takes off in a spacecraft and breaks through the barrier. This is low Earth orbit right here. All of these are in low Earth orbit. And then we get all the way out here to geosynchronous orbit, which is this ring you see all the way around the outside. And these are pretty much, they stay over a fixed location around the Earth. And then a lot of these other ones are like GPS satellites, just random stuff. But regardless, moving over to here, these are only Starlink satellites. So every single one of these that you're looking at now is a Starlink satellite. Just to give you an idea. It says current total. What is this? In service. All right. So total right now, 8,000. We can see the numbers over time. So in total, we're talking 7759 right here. This is February 8th. We got 6,003 in service, 945 inactive, and 811 burned up. 811 burned up. Well, let's get back to that calculadora. What do we say? 830. Let's go to the very end. As far as 855. 855. All right, so that doesn't sound like a lot, guys. 855 times 66. That's 56,000 pounds of aluminum oxide. So, I mean, am I missing something here? Because that's not that much. I mean, you might be saying, Jim, you're crazy. That's not that much. Just to put it in perspective, when the space shuttle took off, and you can't make this stuff up, each time the space shuttle is launched, the solid rocket boosters release 240 tons of hydrochloric gas, 26 tons of chlorine gas, 7 tons, for those who don't know what a ton is, it's 7 times 2,000, of nitrogen dioxide gas, and 304 tons of aluminum oxide into the atmosphere. So just the solid rocket boosters from the space shuttle, 304 tons of aluminum oxide. Now, that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot because at the time they used aluminum powder, which was only 16% of the fuel. And for those who are not old enough to remember what the hell I'm even talking about, that's the space shuttle, and that's the solid rocket boosters. All right, there. Those guys right there taking off and then burning up on the way back down. Those would release 240 tons. Yeah. 304 tons. 304 tons. So that is way more than I mean, a single space shuttle launch was 608,000 pounds of aluminum oxide. But we're fussing about, minuscule amounts compared, in my personal opinion. But I mean, climate people gonna do what climate people gonna do. Air pollution equal air pollution. It's another source of raining aluminum on us, so we might as well point it out, right? I mean, I guess that's the way it goes. Also, there's this OneWeb, which interestingly enough is shaped just like our Van Allen belts. So there's Starlink, OneWeb. This is GPS satellites, just to show you how randomly they're in there. That's your, anytime you're using GPS on your phone, that's where they're coming from. All these random locations all around the globe, GPS satellites. But I don't know anything about OneWeb, honestly. So there's another provider, and they've got the tracking right there. And you see it goes right over that ice wall. I mean, it's just so weird. Like, how does it do that? How does it make it over the ice wall? I mean, Starlink just barely makes it over the ice wall. We can all see that. And if you click on any of these, you can see there's only a few of them that actually make it over the ice wall at the edge of the flat Earth. But, what do I know? What do I know about any of that? Anyway, Starlink coverage worldwide. They're getting some coverage out there. And if you want to know about this, like, when can I see a Starlink satellite burning up on the way down? Have a little celebration with your kids. Go check that out. Time to paint your roof blue. This 9.8 says over at Rumble Chat. Oh man. So as you can see here at the very bottom, they have like all of the exact dates and times that you'll see them and where you can see them at. So here's, launched, re-entry time, and date, February 15th, February 17th, 15th, 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 14, 13. So all of these will, show you, like, you can go to them and it'll show you where they predict it will launch, re-enter, and you can catch a view of that, and then stream it on your favorite social media light. Starlink. It's got the electrolytes. Captain Tom, you stupid bro. It's got the electrolytes. So I don't know, when they're talking about this and they're saying 66, pounds of aluminum oxide from Starlink, it kind of pales in comparison to the, 304 tons per space shuttle launch. And if you look at the history of like, a lot of these rockets that were used over the time, ammonium perchlorate, aluminum, copper, these were commonly used. If you look at Elon Musk's rockets, you can see that they're, powered by the Merlin 1D engines burning rocket grade kerosene and liquid oxygen. So I'm not seeing a whole lot of aluminum in there. If I'm wrong, somebody fact check me on that. But as far as I can tell, the Falcon series rockets, even the Falcon Heavy, they're all pretty much using rocket grade, just kerosene and liquid oxygen. So I don't see them shooting off a bunch of aluminum in the atmosphere like the solid rocket boosters that were in the space shuttle. And honestly, like, if you added up all of the space, I wonder how many space shuttle launches were there? How many space shuttle launches were there? 135. Bringing up the old calculadora. So at 304 tons, that's 608,000 pounds times 135 launches. We're talking 82 million pounds of aluminum oxide. I'm pretty call me crazy, but I'm pretty sure that over the next 100 years, At 66 pounds per Starlink satellite, Elon will never catch up with 82 million pounds of aluminum oxide coming from all of the solid rocket boosters that, let alone like Atlas V rockets and all of the other stuff. The amount of aluminum that has been put up by the space race, the space industry, is insane. And to even try to compare the, 66 pounds to what they've already done, I think is absolutely insane. Or maybe I'm the crazy one. But regardless, raining aluminum, space junk, atmospheric sniffers like the Sabre project at NOAA, being used as a geoengineering early warning system to detect geoengineering when geoengineering's been going on for several decades. It's just accidental geoengineering. It's just metals polluting the upper atmosphere. It's not anybody intentionally doing something, even though David Keith has got a real thickness in his pants for putting aluminum in the stratosphere. Regardless, they're never going to focus on the big picture. But I think the big picture to me really just hit home just by whipping out the calculator and going 82 million pounds from space shuttle launches. And I came across this a long time ago in an article I wrote about aluminum, barium, and chemtrails. And this was from a chemical class at, I believe it was like Harvard or MIT. And, I just downloaded it and threw it up on my Scribd account, which I never show you guys my Scribd account because you're not allowed to see all the stuff that's in my Scribd account. If you can find my Scribd account, you'll find some pretty interesting stuff in there. Little things I keep hidden away, for a rainy day, a rainy aluminum day. Well, let me know what you think. When we're talking about this, is this all just a secret government program to make it rain aluminum on all of us and, get us to blame planes, for being part of a chemtrail program? But in reality, they're covering up for the years of space race, solid rocket boosters, and all of that. Lofting aluminum, which is still coming down. Has that aluminum from all the space shuttles made it down? I don't know. You tell me. But at the end of the day, I think that they're making a really big fuss about Starlink coming down and destroying the ozone layer again. Like when I was growing up, it was acid rain and the ozone hole. There was no real talk about global warming or any of that. Born in 1976. I'm Gen X, baby. And that's what we were that's what we were taught about in school all the time. Acid rain, acid rain, acid rain, ozone hole, CFCs. Don't spray the hairspray. You're going to burn a hole in the atmosphere. And now we've come, full circle to where we're now talking about Starlink is going to burn up the ozone layer. Interesting indeed. I still think that number 82 million pounds of aluminum oxide just from the space shuttle, I want to do some more digging into this. Help me out. If you're a nerd and you like to crunch numbers and you can figure out, if you can figure out total number of launches of rockets and what their rocket exhaust was, did the Atlas V, how much aluminum came out of an Atlas V? Because wasn't it the biggest rocket? I got to go to Cape Canaveral when I was in ROTC in high school. Yes, I was that nerd, and stand inside of the engine, one of the 5 engines on the Atlas V rocket, and you cannot appreciate how big it is until you've actually been there and stood inside of it, and then realize that just the rocket nozzle you're standing in is like 3 to 4 stories high. And then there's 5 of them. So I can only imagine how, how much and what came out of the back of that. But it would be interesting to like tally up all of the rockets and see how much chemicals have been put up there. Because with the explosion of, autism, Alzheimer's, neurodegenerative diseases, and the idea that the higher you loft a chemical, the longer it takes to come down. How do we know what is actually from aircraft, what is from rockets, what is from space reentry, space junk? Everybody wants a simple answer. It's the chemtrails, and that's what's bringing the aluminum and barium. But the world's much more complicated than that, and the atmosphere is more complicated than anything because nobody on the planet has the atmosphere figured out. So it's very interesting to me whenever I, get into these topics because I never know where, it's going to take me. But this is definitely one for the books, the space junk and all that stuff. So last thing on the show, I got a little prized possession. My good friend Dominic Marama, weathermodificationhistory.com alumni, for those who don't know. Dominic Marama, oh, damn it, messed it up. Weathermodificationhistory.com. Want to give him a shout out. So my buddy Dominic over here, who created the Weather Modification History News Journal and Vault, which has over 800 newspaper articles for controlling the weather back to the 1800s, like in 1919, producing rain with X-rays, and many, many, many more crazy things. Tesla towers and all of that fun stuff. Steiger vortex, hail cannons, and all of the history of weather control here. Well, Dominic found another really cool one for me and sent me this. And I have one, you do not. This is original Project Cirrus, The Story of Cloud Seeding by General Electric, 1952. Still sealed. I haven't even opened it yet because it's in perfect mint condition. I'm going to try to scan it and add it to weathermodificationhistory.com, but I get to add this to my collection of historic articles of the Cirrus type. And this one specifically, for those who don't know about Project Cirrus, was the first project that was implemented by General Electric, Irving Langmuir, Bernard Vonnegut, and Vincent Schaefer, and their exploits in making it rain with silver iodide and dry ice, in addition to trying to steer a hurricane and then having the hurricane run into Savannah, Georgia. Not cool, but they did it. So it'll be interesting to see if they even mention that in here. But I haven't opened it up yet. That's for another day. So if you guys find anything cool and it's weather related, especially weather modification related, please be sure to send that to me. My address is at the bottom of connect.climateviewer.com. Because I like collectibles. So for anybody wanting to get in touch, go over to the newly updated connect.climateviewer.com and scroll all the way to the bottom past, all of these things. And down here at the very bottom, I thought my address was on there. Major fail. It's at the bottom of all my other websites. So if you just go to Climate Viewer News, you scroll to the bottom. Yeah, it's right there. 25 Trip Drive, Sumter, South Carolina, 29153. You can hit me up by mail and it should be on all of the on all of the pages by now. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's at the bottom of weathermodificationhistory.com. So if you find anything cool, like old books, old newspapers, anything like that, and you want to donate it to the archive, I'm gonna try to scan them in and add them to the website. Those chems are contrails, Jeff says in chat. Oh Lord. Well, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Let me know in the comments, what do you think the biggest thing to be concerned about is? Is it the airplanes and aluminum? Is it all the rocket launches and aluminum? Is it space junk and aluminum? What do you think the biggest source of it is? Or do you believe that the government is secretly spraying with pumps and pipes out of every single plane that you see going overhead aluminum? Let me know in the comments. And remember, guys, I don't have it all figured out. Always a student, sometimes a teacher, never an expert. So I'm always learning. I enjoy when you guys learn along with me. I don't have this figured out. They don't have this figured out. They're just throwing a whole bunch of, throwing a big hissy fit about Elon's burning up satellites coming in. Oh no, it's niobium and aluminum and, other stuff, the sky's falling. I mean, much like the cover image I just did, I gave it a cyberpunk kind of feel. Raining aluminum and space junk. The sky is falling, and now they're fussing about it and bringing up the freaking ozone layer, especially the ozone holes over the Arctic, which I find especially ironic considering that for the most part, there really aren't very many. I mean, just a reminder, the vast majority are not over the Arctic, but they're very concerned about, the occasional Starlink satellite burning up over here. Oh, but, any of these that fall out of space here because of atmospheric circulation, it's going to end up here and it's going to end up burning up ozone over the poles. But, hey, whatever, man. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And let me know what I missed. Everybody has blind spots, so I probably do too. What was my blind spot? What did I miss? I think I covered it all, from low Earth orbit, tiny little 5G from space, Starlink / Starshield satellites, to rocket launches, to large body re-entries, all burning up. When am I going live again? I try to get a video in at 9:00. My schedule's kind of crazy. In case you guys don't know this, I'm chaotic AF, and I'm a Scorpio. I was born in the year of the dragon, so I'm like dodging and moving, and I never can really predict my schedule. But generally speaking, I'm going to be I want to make a video on Mondays and Tuesdays. Wednesdays suck. All right. Thursdays, Fridays, probably, if I don't hit you up on Thursday and Friday, expect one on the weekend. But generally speaking, expect the videos at ClimateViewer on all the things at 9 p.m. Eastern. And of course, we're about to go through spring, so that's going to mess everybody up. Can we all agree to just end daylight savings time and just leave the time alone? I think that would be good too. Let me know in the comments what you think about that, and where you think all the aluminum's coming from, and is it even a big deal? I mean, because at the end of the day, is the source really the problem, or is it just the fact that we're all getting aluminum rain and it really sucks and we cannot figure out who to blame to boot? I think that's the big problem, but I could be wrong. Regardless, remember, some of this stuff can get you upset, but for me, I put on some good music. I spend time with my family. I try to get outdoors and sweat it out. Don't get too worked up about these things. Be conscientious, be ever vigilant, educate yourself, and remember to attack ideas, not people. Please, if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share with everybody, and drop a comment because it screws with the algos. Love you, mean it. Catch you on the next one. If this video resonates with you, leave me a comment because I love hearing from y'all. First time here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. Yeah! Remember, it would be impossible for me to do this without your support, so please join my Patreon or buy me a coffee on PayPal. And always, attack ideas, not people.